You ever just like walk into a room and your jaw kind of hits the floor?
I know that feeling.
That's Muddy's gaming dungeon, right?
Yeah.
It's just the videos, the sheer scale, thousands of games, cabinets everywhere.
It's amazing, yeah, but it's more than just the quantity, right?
Yeah, for sure.
It's the organization, the way everything's customized, it's next level.
It's like Muddy took that feeling we all had as kids, wanting our own arcade, and just went for it.
Totally. And what's cool is it's not just about recreating the past. Muddy's blended retro and modern in a way it's really unique.
Right. So where do we even start with a setup like this?
Well, the heart of it all, gotta be Muddy's LaunchBox and big box setup.
Okay, so for folks who aren't familiar, break that down a bit. What are we talking about here?
Think of it like mission control for a massive game library. It's the software that brings it all together.
And when we say massive, we mean it. Right. How many games are we talking about?
Over 35,000. It's mind-blowing. But here's the thing. It's not just about having a ton of ROMs in a folder somewhere.
Oh, no way. Not with Muddy's attention to detail. Everything's organized, presented beautifully.
Exactly. Categorized, searchable, the works. Muddy's even created these themed playlists, which I think is genius.
Tell me more about that, the playlists. Because 35,000 games, I mean, where do you even begin?
Right. It could be totally overwhelming. But these playlists, they're like curated experiences. So instead of just like SNES games or fighting games, it's more specific, more thematic.
Okay, I'm hooked. Give me an example.
So say you're in the mood for some classic arcade beat-em-ups.
Love it.
Muddy's got a playlist for that. All the classics ready to go. No hunting through menus, just pure side-scrolling action.
That's so cool. And knowing Muddy, it probably even looks the part.
Oh, absolutely. This is where the customization comes in. They've got custom themes that change the entire look of the interface depending on the playlist.
Whoa, that's taking it to another level.
Right. You fire up that beat-em-up playlist and suddenly, boom, your screen transforms into this classic arcade with custom graphics, even those scan lines for that retro CRT vibe.
Oh man, the scan lines. Don't get me started on scan lines. I could talk about scan lines all day.
They really make a difference, don't they?
Huge. They just add this, like, authenticity that you can't get with a modern display alone. And speaking of authenticity, what about controllers?
You know Muddy's all over that. Original controllers whenever possible, so you're not just playing a SNES game, you're holding that classic controller in your hands. It just adds another layer of, like, tactile immersion.
It's all about the details, and those details, they make all the difference.
Totally. And it shows the thought and care that Muddy puts into the whole experience.
Okay, we have to talk about the X-Arcade Tankstick, because this thing is a beast.
Right, like the ultimate arcade controller. It's got everything.
Seriously. Joystick, buttons, trackball, even a spinner. It's like the Swiss Army knife of arcade controllers.
Exactly. And that's what makes it perfect for a setup like this. Because with thousands of games spanning so many genres, you need something versatile.
And Muddy's definitely put it through its paces. I mean, who would have thought to use an arcade trackball for PopCap games?
Right. It's brilliant. Proof that you don't always need specialized equipment, just some creative thinking.
It's about finding new ways to use what you have.
Exactly. And making it work seamlessly.
Okay, but the Tankstick, that's just the tip of the iceberg. Right.
Yeah.
Then you step into Muddy's actual arcade space, and it's like, whoa.
It's another level. We've all seen, the basements with a cabinet or two, but this is a whole different beast.
It's a time machine, but like a time machine with excellent Wi-Fi.
And great taste in games. Muddy's got that mix of dedicated cabinets, the classics, but also these multi-purpose setups that are just smart.
Yeah, got to maximize the space, right? And speaking of which, that custom Street Fighter 6 cabinet, drool-worthy.
Oh, for sure. You can tell that was a labor of love. Didn't just buy that off the shelf.
Okay, spill the beans. What went into this masterpiece?
All right, so they started with a kit from Game Room Solutions. Solid foundation, right? But then Muddy took it from there.
Of course, because stock's never enough for Muddy. Right?
Never. Custom artwork, working coin doors. They even added LED lighting that syncs to the game audio.
Next level. See, it's those details that make it more than just a DIY project. So under the hood, what's powering this beast?
Oh, they went all out. It's a full-on gaming PC in there. Got to make sure those modern fighters run smooth, right?
Yeah, no lag time on those combos.
Oh.
But it's cool. They've got that balance, cutting edge,
yeah.
But also Pac-Man, Ms. Pac-Man, even a Buck Hunter, which classic.
Gotta love a good Buck Hunter session.
Oh, and that Outrun cabinet.
Yeah.
Glowing under the black lights, like stepping into the game.
That's all Muddy. The black light stuff, the BMW pedal hovers, little touches, huge impact.
Speaking of, How do they handle the vertical games?
Yeah.
The shooters, I mean.
Yeah.
Those usually need a specific setup, right?
Oh, they've got to figure it out. So they took the control deck from their Legends Ultimate 1.1 arcade machine.
Okay, getting technical now.
So little, mounted it vertically next to a 55-inch screen. Boom, vertical gaming heaven.
Slick. So smart.
Yeah.
But they haven't completely abandoned the CRT life, have they? For those games that just need that warmth.
Not a chance. They've got a CRT specifically for their Evercade VS Plus, even using an HDMI to RGB adapter. Gotta get that picture quality right.
Dedication. It's inspiring. And it's not just the arcade stuff. Like, the pinball collection's no joke either.
Legends pinball machine. That thing is awesome. But of course, Muddy had to mod it, added an arcade controller deck and trackball, for those pinball games that need more than just the flippers.
Makes sense. And for when they want to go really big.
Projector and Luna setup. Gaming on a massive scale.
Their own mini movie theater, but for, like, boss battles and stuff.
Exactly. So versatile.
Yeah.
But honestly, out of everything, the one cabinet that screams Muddy's passion for gaming history, it's the Neo Geo MVSX.
The Neo Geo. Legendary. For those who weren't around then, what made it so special?
This was the 90s, right? And the Neo Geo is just light years ahead. The graphics, the fighting games, it was like a glimpse into the future.
And pricey.
Oh, yeah, back then, definitely.
But Muddy's a fan, clearly.
Yeah.
What'd they do to it?
Custom Japanese ball-top joysticks, blacklight accents, even modded it to expand the game library.
It's more than just playing. It's like preserving history, respecting the past while making it their own,
Totally. And you know what I love about this whole setup? It's about community, too. Remember that Spin the Wheel arcade night app?
Oh, yeah. With so many games, how do they even choose?
That's the beauty of it. Spin the wheel, random cabinet or game pops up.
Fun.
Right. Takes the pressure off. Everyone gets a surprise. It's about sharing the experience.
Love that. It's not just a personal collection. It's a place to make memories.
Exactly. And that's what makes Muddy's Gaming Dungeon so special.
So we've talked about the hardware, the cabinets, the sheer scale of Muddy's setup. But what really blows my mind is the emulation side of things.
Oh, yeah. That's where the real magic happens.
Because 35,000 games. That's a whole other level of dedication.
It's more than just collecting ROMs, that's for sure.
Right. You got to make those games run and run well, which is easier said than done, especially when you're talking about some of those more obscure arcade systems.
Absolutely. Muddy's got some stuff in there. Sega Naomi, Samietta Misswave. Those are not plug and play.
So what does it take to emulate those systems? I mean, it's like recreating the entire arcade board and software, right?
Pretty much. You need a deep understanding of the original hardware, the different chips, how it all works together, and then you need the right software, the emulators themselves.
And I'm guessing a beefy computer to run it all.
No kidding. This is where the hardware really matters. Muddy's emphasized that a lot. Choosing the right CPU, a good graphics card, it's essential for accurate emulation.
So it's not just about storage space for the ROMs.
Nope. We're talking processing power, especially if you want to run those old games with higher resolutions, maybe some upscaling to make them look smoother on a modern display.
All right, got to bring those classics into the 21st century.
Yeah.
But even with all that, I imagine there are still challenges.
Oh, for sure. Emulation's a constantly moving target. New emulators are released. Games have quirks, compatibility issues. It's a journey.
Totally. And speaking of challenges, Muddy mentioned having some trouble with the Tato Type X board, right?
Yeah, the Type X, that one's notorious, even in the emulation world.
What makes it so tricky?
It's just a complicated system to emulate, a lot of moving parts, so to speak. Muddy spent ages on that, researching online, tweaking settings, talking to other collectors.
Real detective work. What was the breakthrough moment like?
It's funny how those things go. Hours of frustration, and then boom, something clicks, and suddenly you're looking at a perfect emulation of, elevator action.
The satisfaction must be immense.
Oh, totally. It's like solving a puzzle.
And it speaks to that dedication, that passion for preserving these games.
Exactly. It's about keeping that history alive, making sure those experiences aren't lost.
And it goes beyond the mainstream stuff, too, right?
Yeah.
Because Muddy's got this whole collection of Japanese-only releases, games most people had never even heard of.
Right. Hidden gems, different versions of games we know, things that never made it to the West.
Like what? Give me an example.
Well, Muddy's a huge Final Fantasy fan, right?
Oh, yeah, huge.
So they've got these early Final Fantasy games, Japanese versions, that have totally different graphics, different mechanics. Even the story might be tweaked.
Whoa. It's like a whole alternate gaming universe. I'd love to see that, just to compare, see how the game's evolved.
Right. It's fascinating, and it makes you realize how big and diverse the world of gaming really is. There's so much out there to discover.
And that's what I keep coming back to with Muddy's Gaming Dungeon. It's inspiring, it's impressive, but it's also a reminder that gaming can be whatever we want it to be.
Exactly. It's about finding your own passion, whether it's the classics, the new stuff, the collecting, the emulation.
It's about creating your own little world, your own gaming haven.
And maybe even inspiring others along the way.
Right. So if you're listening and you're feeling that itch, maybe it's time to dust off that old console. Check out a new genre, Embrace the joy of gaming.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Until next time, game on.